Minecraft consists of 1,000,000 blocks, but today I'm reducing that down to 1 block. And I'm going to be turning this 1 block into my own island that is full of resources that I'm going to need to survive 100 days. If you guys enjoy, subscribe and leave a like, and let's get into the video. And here we are. We spawned on our 1 block, and I guess the only thing to do now is punch down this 1 block. At first, the 1 block was only giving me dirt and oak logs, and it gave me a tutorial chest with some oak saplings. And after a little while, I made some oak slabs because I wanted to extend this platform out a little bit just to protect myself in case any mobs spawned. After a little while, with all the wood I got, I made a little bit more oak slabs, and then I extended out the platform a little more. And then I made myself some simple wooden tools like a wooden axe, a wooden shovel, and a pickaxe. Then the 1 block gave me a water bucket, which I used to place a block underneath the 1 block, just so that way I didn't lose blocks like gravel and sand. And then I got this chest right here, and then I was moving on to the first phase. There's going to be a total of 10 phases, and this first phase was the plains phase. And before I mined the 1 block anymore, I made this little oval-shaped platform, which I was going to use to put some animals on. And speaking of animals, I got my first friend, which was a pig, and we'll call his name Joe. And it was not long after where I got 2 chickens that spawned right inside of each other for some reason. And then I put some dirt on this platform as well as some fences, and as you can see, the sun was setting on day 1, and I didn't have a bed or nothing, so I just mined the 1 block. The only things I got from the 1 block was a sheep, a cow, and a pig. And just like that, the sun was rising, and then I survived my first night on the 1 block. And at the start of day 2, I got my second sheep, so now we had an infinite amount of wool. And then I got my second cow as well. And then I got this chest, which gave me a grass block, which I placed in the middle of this platform, so hopefully it can spread. And just like that, I upgraded to the underground phase. And once I got 3 stone, I made myself a stone pickaxe. And then I got a little bit more and made myself a stone axe and shovel. In the underground phase, the 1 block was giving me blocks like cobblestone and coal. And I even got a mushroom cow for some reason. And then I got enough dirt to fill in this platform, and it was looking pretty good. And then once I did that, I placed some fences around to make an extra pen for my animals. And one of my saplings grew, so I chopped that down. And then my first monster spawned in from the 1 block, and I think it's because it was daytime, so the spider didn't attack me. So I just fell him off the edge. Then I chopped down another tree, and then I made a bowl, and I used that bowl to milk this cow, and I got an infinite amount of mushroom fruit. And then the 1 block gave me iron. It was only 2 pieces though, but I did use that 2 iron to make a pair of shears, and sheared my 2 sheep, and I used that wool to make a bed, and then I got my first night of sleep. At the start of day 3, I was punching down the 1 block, and I got 2 more pieces of iron. And then this creeper spawned in and almost exploded my island, but I took care of him no problem. And then the 1 block gave me 2 spruce saplings, which was good because it's my favorite wood in the game, so I planted those down immediately. And then I spent the rest of the day making this circular platform, and I cannot build a good circle at all. And then a skeleton spawned on the platform, so I made a shield and took care of him, or he took care of himself. And then I slept. And then at the start of day 4, I was still trying to figure out why this circle didn't look like a circle. And then I chopped down some more trees. And I chopped down so many trees that my axe broke, so I made a new one and got right back to chopping down trees. And then rabbits spawned, and then they started jumping off for some reason. But then I got a total of 3 pieces of iron. And then another mushroom cow spawned, so I put him inside the pen. And then I made a whole bunch of slabs and started filling in this platform. And once I ran out of slabs, I went to sleep, and at the start of day 5, I was right back at it, placing slabs. And then I finally placed down all of the slabs, and then the island was looking pretty good. And then I chopped down the spruce tree, as well as a bunch of oak trees. And since I was chopping down so many trees, I decided it would be a good idea to turn my iron into an iron axe. And the dirt supply on this island isn't going to be infinite, so I made some coarse dirt, and then I planted it down on my platform, and then I just used a hoe to turn it into regular dirt. And then I placed a big tree with some spruce saplings, And then I also planted down a bunch of regular oak saplings as well. And then my big tree grew, and then I chopped it down. And once I was done, it was nighttime, so I went to sleep. And at the start of day 6, 2 zombies spawned from one block, but I killed both of them with the bottom. And then I planted down some spruce saplings on this platform. And then my pickaxe broke, so I made a new one. And then I got 2 pieces of iron from the one block. And then another zombie spawned, but I took care of them as well. And then I made a fence to make the one block a little bit safer. And then I got 2 more pieces of iron as well. And then a creeper spawned, but I pushed him off the edge before he can explode. And it was getting dark, so I slept. And at the start of day 7, I made myself an iron pickaxe. And then I got 2 more pieces of iron. And then my iron axe broke, but I had enough iron, so I just made a new one. And then another zombie spawned, but I was safe with this fence, or so I thought. And then a mushroom cow spawned, and I didn't know this, but I accidentally used my shears on him. And then he turned into a regular cow. And my wood supply was getting a lot bigger from chopping down a whole bunch of trees. And then I made a new animal pen. And it was getting dark, so I slept. And at the start of day 8, 2 zombies spawned, but this fence was protecting me, and then I was able to take out both of them. And then I got this chest right here, and that means that we are upgrading to the next phase. And I also got this map, and I think our island is looking pretty good right now. And then the next phase was Icy Tundra. And before I mined the one block, I got all of the chickens into their own pen. And all the ones that didn't cooperate, they, yeah. And then I placed some carpets so I can get in the pens easier. And then I mined the one block, which was giving me a whole bunch of snow. I stopped mining the one block to chop down this big tree. And then I placed some more dirt on the platform. And it was getting dark, so I slept. And at the start of day 9, I made a new axe because mine broke. The one block gave me 2 seeds, so I planted both of those down. And then I tried to get all the animals into their own pens, but they were resisting. But after a little while, I was able to get them all into their own pens. And this is what the wood supply was looking like. And then 2 icy skeletons spawned, and kind of got scared. But when I looked back, they both fell off the edge, so I was good. And then I placed some more fences around the one block. And then a wolf spawned and I accidentally hit him, but I was able to trap him inside this little box till I got some bones. Then it was getting dark, so I slept. At the start of day 10, 2 foxes spawned, and then they started killing my chickens, so I had to unfortunately kill them. Then it started thunderstorming, and I didn't want my base to catch on fire, so I just slept. Started day 11, I was punching down the one block, and then 2 strays spawned, but I took care of both of them. And then I used the bones to make some bone meal to get some more crops, and I had a total of 8 crops now. And then this one stray got me pretty low, but then he fell off, so I was good. And then another fox spawned in, so I blocked him off as well. And then this bear spawned and tried to kill me. I actually got kind of scared there. And then with some of the wheat I got, I bred the cows, and then I got some more iron from the one block, and then I got some ice as well, which I turned into water, and now we have 2 buckets of water, which means we have an infinite water source. And then I turned all my wood into planks, because now I was going to make a mob grinder to get a whole bunch of resources, but I needed some more wood, so I chopped down some trees, and it was getting dark, so I slept. I had a lot of saplings at the start of day 12, so I planted all those down. And then I wasted a lot of planks on some trapdoors. And by the end of the day, I had everything I needed to get started on the mob grinder. But it was getting dark, so I slept. And before I build the mob farm, I want to build a circular platform that I can put it on top of. And just like that, it is now complete. And I think it looked like a circle this time, which is good. And then I got to work on building the mob grinder. And at the beginning of day 15, the farm was finally complete, and as you can see, it is already starting to work. So I was punching down some of the mobs, and I got a surprising drop from one of the zombies. They dropped a potato, which I was really happy about. And I planted it down almost immediately. So I hit the mob grinder a little bit, and after a little while I was up to level 28, and then I used some of the bones I got from the skeletons to bone meal my crops. And then I just started bone mealing my potatoes, and I got up to almost a stack of potatoes, which is insane. And then I hit the mob grinder a little bit more, and then I hit level 30. And it was getting dark, so I slept. And at the start of day 16, I placed down a chest for the mob grinder. And my wood supply was running low after building the mob grinder, so I chopped down some trees. And then I tamed these 2 wolves right here. Let me know in the comments if you guys have any name suggestions. And then I bred my chickens, cows, sheep, and pigs. And then I hit the mob grinder a little bit till I was at level 37. And it was getting dark, so I slept. And then I punched the one block at the start of day 17, and then there was something called a monster party. And this is where a bunch of mobs spawned. So I grabbed my shield, I grabbed a bow, I took out one of the monster guards, and when I came back they were all gone, and my fences were destroyed for some reason. So I put those back together, and I started punching the one block a little bit. And then another fox spawned, but before I could kill him, he decided to kill himself by jumping like 10 feet away for some reason. And then 2 strays spawned and got me down to 3.5 hearts. But then they turned on each other, and I was able to kill them. And then I started extending my farm a little bit. And these leaves were getting in the way, so I chopped down those trees. And once I was done chopping down the trees, it was dark, so I slept. At the start of day 18, I was hitting the mob grinder, and I got up to level 40. And then I wanted to extend out the crop farm a little bit. I had one section for wheat, and then another section for potatoes. And then I used some of the bones I got from the mob grinder to bone meal all of my crops. And with all that bone mealing, I had enough crops to plant all down, and then I slept. And this was the crop harvest that I got. And then I checked my map, and it was looking pretty good. And then I bred my animals, and I was getting tired of mushroom stew, so I decided to make some baked potatoes. The next thing I did was make a whole bunch of slabs, because I wanted to extend my platform on the other side of the one block. So I got to making out a platform, and this is what it was looking like after a little while. And then I extended it because I wanted to make another circular platform, so I began on doing that. And this is what the circle was looking like, and the next thing I did was just filled it in with some spruce planks. And there we go, the circle is now complete, and I think it looks pretty good. So the next thing I did was add fences on the one block, and then I slept. And then it started day 20, I was punching down the one block, and then I got one of these chests, which means we're moving on to the next phase. The next phase was an ocean phase, and that was giving me a whole bunch of sand and ocean blocks. And I decided for the circular platform, I was going to make a storage room. And once I was done placing all the chests, I began putting signs on them to organize everything I wanted inside of them. And it was getting dark, so I slept. At the start of day 21, I was still organizing some of my items into the chests. Then when I was done, I started chopping down the one block some more, and a turtle spawned. So that gave me an idea, so I went over to this island right here and started making another circular platform. And this is what it was looking like when it was done, but it was dark, so I slept. I was going to make this circular platform like a fish tank, so I got to work on doing that. And then I started filling it up all with water. And then I brought over the turtle. At the start of day 23, I was able to hit level 50 from the mob grinder. And then I was punching the one block some more, and I even got 2 fish, which I saved. And then I got my first diamonds, which I was excited about. And then more fish spawned, so I saved them with my water bucket. And then I killed that fish, but that wasn't my fault, that was his. He spawned in the bowl. And then I saved the tropical fish, and then I put them inside of my fish tank without killing them this time. And then a whole entire Elder Guardian spawned. It gave me mining fatigue and got me down to 2.5 hearts. So I ran away, but I was able to kill him with my bow. And then I drank some milk to get rid of the mining fatigue. And at the start of day 24, I was punching down the one block, and I was trying to save this glow squid, but he just like wouldn't get in the water for some reason, and he died. And then a stupid pufferfish spawned and got me down to half a heart. I literally almost lost this world to a pufferfish. And then I was about to put some axolotls in the fish tank, but then I remembered they ate fish. So I put them in my infinite water source, and they'll be there for the rest of these 100 days. I am not joking. And then I was trying to save a dolphin, but they wouldn't get in boats, so I just had to kill them. And at the start of day 25, I was punching down the one block when a monster party started. So I ran away, but it was pretty easy with my fence. I just kept shooting my bow at him. I didn't really take no damage. And the last one left was this chill guy right here, who was kind of chill. And then I started putting a whole bunch of stuff inside the chest, and then I chopped down the one block some more. And then I got some tab holes, so I grabbed some of those. And then I placed them into the fish tank. And then another Elder Guardian spawned, and I didn't know you can't block it with a shield, so I got down to 4 hearts. But I was able to kill him just by standing behind this sponge and shooting him. And one of those guys spawned, and I took him out. And then at the start of day 26, I was doing the same thing that I always do. And then I got one of these chests, which means we're moving on to the next phase. And I also got a trident, which is pretty cool. And this phase was a jungle dungeon. But before I mined that, I wanted to make the fish tank look a little nicer. And by the end of the day, I think I did a pretty good job. And then at the start of day 27, a creeper blew up my mob grinder. And then I got pretty low from these skeletons, so I just had to run away. And this one skeleton shot me, and I got down to 1 heart, which was a close call. Then I was able to sneak back in and block it all off, and I was good. And then I did a harvest on all my crops, and I think I got a pretty good amount of stuff this time. Then I started collecting the eggs from the chickens, and I forgot to put the shaders back on. Ah, there we go. That's much better. At the start of day 28, I was mining the one block, and this phase is giving me a bunch of cobblestone. But I didn't mine it for too long, because then I decided I wanted to build myself a house. So I got to work on making another platform, and this platform was going to be a lot bigger than all of the others. But then I stopped when it started thunderstorming, because my whole entire base is made of wood, and one fire is going to set my whole base on fire. At the start of day 29, I saw this cool looking rainbow. And then I started filling in this circular platform, and it took like half a day, but I finally got it complete. And now it's time to construct my house. I'm not going to show you guys all the building of it, I'm just going to show you what it looks like when it's done. And there we have it. After 3 days, my house is complete, and I think it turned out pretty good. We got my nice looking bed, and then I got some crafting tables, and there'll be some furnaces there. And then you go up the spiral staircase, and I'm not sure what I'm going to put up here yet. And then I made this house home by sleeping in it. And then at the start of day 33, I started harvesting all of my crops. And I'll say this is a pretty good haul. And then some parrots spawned, so I went to grab some seeds. And then I saw one falling down the edge. But I was able to tame the other one though. And then I got a horse, so I put him in the pen. And then I got another diamond. And then a witch spawned and poisoned me. And he got me down to half a heart. But you can't die from poison, so I was fine. And I guess I forgot to show me getting 2 other diamonds, and I don't feel like going back in the recording, so y'all just gonna have to believe me. But here's my 5th diamond. And then I got an achievement for getting all of the frog lights, which I didn't even know existed. And then a monster party spawned, but monster parties are pretty easy besides these vexes, because they are the most annoying mob in the game. But I was able to take them all out and kill that witch, and the monster party was over. And I started day 35, I got a panda, and I brought him in with all of the other animals. And then more parrots spawned, but I already have a parrot, so I don't need y'all. And so I spent the rest of the day chopping down the one block, and at the start of day 36, I was back doing the same thing. But then I got one of these chests, which means we're moving on to the next phase. And this phase was the red desert phase. This phase was giving me stuff from a red desert, obviously. And then some husks spawned, which was like the main mob that spawned. And then I got another diamond. And then I made a chest for dessert. So I'm just joking, desert. And then I changed the one block into stone bricks to make it look cooler. And at the start of day 37, I got the most important thing I've gotten so far, which was a villager. I was so excited that I got a villager that I started chopping down trees. And then I started making a pathway connecting my house to the trees. And I think it turned out pretty good. And then I made another pathway from my house to the chests. And then I chopped down some more trees. And as I started day 38, I was starting another platform to another circle. And this circle was not my best work, but then I filled it in with some spruce slabs, and then I placed some torches, and then I slept, and then I started day 39. I was back chopping down some more trees, and then I started making a house for my villager to live in. And this house was going to have 2 stories. The first floor was going to be like a trading hall, and the second floor was going to be where they all breed. And by the end of day 41, I brought the villager over, and yeah, it doesn't really look that good. And then I placed down a whole bunch of beds. And then at the beginning of day 42, I was back chopping down the 1 block. And then I sheared some sheep for some more beds. And then I extended out their pen as well. And then I put both of my dogs inside of my house. And then I got another diamond. And then I chopped down some more trees. And then I tried to make the villager's house look a little better. And yeah, it still looks bad, but at least it's like 1% better. And then I got sugarcane at the start of day 43. And then I made a pathway from my animals to my fish tank. And then I extended out the pathway to a new platform that I was going to make. And then I connected the platform to my chests. And then at day 44, I finished it, and this is going to be where I planted down all of my sugarcane. And then I checked the map, and I think it's looking pretty good. And then a wandering trader spawned, and he didn't have no good trades, so yeah, anyways, I got a camel. And then at the start of day 45, I got a diamond. And now I'm up to a total of 9 diamonds. And then 2 armadillos spawned, so I just pushed them out of the way. And then a fox spawned, but they like to kill my animals, so anyways, a monster party spawned, and monster parties are pretty easy as long as you just sit back and shoot them with a bow. And then I got a second villager, so I brought him over to the other villager. And now I have 2 villagers. And then I gave them some potatoes, and then, yeah. And I'm not sure what I was doing here. Anyways, it's time for another harvest. And I think this harvest turned out pretty good. And then I bred my animals, and then another wandering trader spawned, and then I gave him some emeralds for a cherry sapling, and then I gave him a high five. And then I figured out how to make a brush, and then I brushed the armadillos, and then put wolf armor on one of my dogs. And at the start of day 47, I gave the villagers some more potatoes, and then I gave my other wolf armor. And now I'm up to 5 villagers. And then I chopped down some more trees. And then at day 48, I killed an iron golem that spawned on the roof. And then I made a Fletcher, and then started trading some sticks for some emeralds. And then I extended out my sugarcane some more. And then I spent the rest of day 48 trying to get a mending book, which I finally got at day 49. So I put him down on the first floor, which was going to be the trading hall. And then I traded with my Fletcher some more, and then this cherry blossom grew, so I chopped that down. And then a zombie spawned on my roof, so I trapped him in a boat, because I wanted to make a iron farm. And now we are halfway done this video. And at the start of day 50, I made a diamond axe, and I put mending on it. And then I started refreshing another villager's trades, because I was looking for efficiency. And after about 5 minutes, he gave me efficiency 5 for 64 emeralds. And then I made a diamond pickaxe and put mending on that as well. And then I began chopping down some trees. And then I harvested some of my crops as well. And then I traded some sticks for some emeralds. And then I repaired my axe with the mob farm. And then I made another pathway going to a new platform that I was building. But I needed more wood, so I chopped down some trees, and then I filled it in. And then I was able to get enough emeralds for this efficiency 5 book, and I put it on my diamond axe. And then I chopped down trees for the rest of the day, and at the start of 53, I was chopping down some more trees. And I began trading with my Fletcher for some more emeralds. And then I started upgrading this librarian, and once I upgraded him, he got me a Fortune 3 book as well, which was cool. And then he also gave me a Sharpness 5 book, and then the main reason I was leveling up this villager was to get this name tag. Then I named it Angry Man and put it on the zombie. And I had all the resources I needed for the iron farm, I just needed a lava bucket. So at the start of day 55, I was chopping down the 1 block, because this would be my best chance to get the lava bucket. I also got this Fortune 3 book and put it on my diamond pickaxe. And then I got this chest right here, which means we are moving on to the next phase. And this phase was the nether phase, which was my best chance to get a lava bucket. And then some blazes spawned, and I got scared because I thought they was going to burn my whole island. But I was able to kill them both before any fire spread. And then I spent the rest of the day 55 making the 1 block safer. I think I did a pretty good job with that. Then I started day 56, I was mining the 1 block, and I got a piece of ancient debris. And then I got another piece of ancient debris. And then some hardwood spawned, but I was able to kill them. And then I upgraded my axe and my pickaxe with the mob grinder. And then I combined 2 bows for a power 2 unbreaking 1 bow. Then I got another piece of ancient debris, and then I got a chest with some blaze rods. And then some gas spawned, but I think they were stuck, so I was able to kill them easily. And then I destroyed my sugarcane, and then replanted some. Then I spent the rest of day 56 mining the 1 block. At the start of day 57, I got a chest with a wither skeleton skull. And then I mined some ancient debris. And then these blazes spawned, and then they got me pretty low. But luckily, I was able to survive. And then a monster party started, and then the blaze started throwing fireballs, and then they landed on the trees. But I think I was able to put out all of the fire before it caused any damage. And then I took out the blaze, and then these magma cubes, and it was finished. And on day 58, I made a shovel and put mending on it. And then I mined the 1 block till I got this chest with a lava bucket. And on day 59, I got all the resources I needed to build this iron farm. I was going to build it on this platform I made right here, so I got to work on making it. And by nighttime, I was able to get all of the villagers trapped. But when I tried to trap the zombie, he got a little close and I hit him off the edge. But I destroyed some torches, and then I got another name tag. And then I was able to get another zombie trapped inside. And by day 60, as you can hear, it is working. So I built up a ladder and it is complete. And then I harvested my sugarcane. And then I killed some of my cows. And a stack of beef later, I had 2 cows and 2 mushroom cows. So I made a bunch of books and I turned those into bookshelves. And then I made a enchantment table. And day 61, I set up the enchantment table on the 2nd floor of my house. And then I was enchanting some books when I got an Unbreaking 3 book, so I got that. And then I put that on my diamond axe. And then I mined the 1 block some more. And then I got this chest, which means we're moving on to the next phase. And I have no idea what this phase is. The blocks were like completely random. Like, look at all the blocks I got from here. Yeah, they literally have nothing in common. But I did find a diamond though. And by this phase, I was done organizing. And on day 62, I checked the iron chest and I had a stack of iron. And it took 62 days, but I made a full set of iron armor. Let's go. And then I spent the rest of the day hitting the mob grinder until I got to level 35, which I enchanted a loyalty book, and I also got an infinity bow. And I put loyalty 3 on my trident, and it went into the void, and for some reason I never got it back. And then I chopped down a tree, and then I got my 2nd librarian down on the 1st floor, and I bought a sharpness book, and I put that on my diamond axe. And day 64, I was hitting the mob grinder some more, and then I got 2 more villagers down in the trading hall, and then I got another one down, and I made him an armorer. Then I started upgrading him because armors can get you diamond armor, as you can see here. But I needed more emeralds, so I chopped down another tree, and then I got my first diamond gear. And day 65 is completely useless because it started thunderstorming, so I slept immediately. And day 66, I was hitting the mob grinder when I accidentally crouched, and then a creeper exploded. But I was able to repair it, no problem. And then I set up a nether portal and went inside. The main reason I was in the nether was to try to find some brown mushrooms. And I was able to find a few of them, and I returned home with a grand total of 22. I needed brown mushrooms to make fermented spider eyes, which I put in the brewing stand to make splash potions of weakness. Then I also made 10 golden apples, And then I checked the iron farm, and we was at 2 stacks of iron. And then day 69, I made a diamond sword and enchanted it with sharpness 4, sweeping edge 3, and unbreaking 3. Then I enchanted my boots with protection 4. And then I got an unbreaking 3, punch 2, power 4 bow, which I combined it with my infinity bow. And then I started expanding the villager's platform, and by the end of the day, it was complete. And then I made this little box behind the villager's house, because a villager spawned it on the platform, and I named him Cool. And then I trapped him inside of here. Then I spent day 70 trying to figure out how to make my villagers turn into zombie villagers with redstone. And I was still trying to figure out on day 71, but then I finally figured it out. And I turned my villagers into zombie villagers, and then I cured them for some good prices. And as you see, the iron is stacking up now. But then I harvested my crops. And then day 72, I got the achievement Zombie Doctor. So I came down and I got some more emeralds with these good prices. But the prices wasn't good enough, so I turned them back into zombie villagers. And then I got a diamond helmet, which I enchanted with Unbreaking 3 and Respiration 3. And the villagers' prices still weren't good enough, so I turned them back into zombies. Day 73, I bought a diamond chestplate, and then I hit the mob grinder until I hit level 30. And then I also got a diamond helmet and enchanted that with protection 4. Then I combined it with my Respiration 3 Unbreaking 3 helmet. And then a monster party spawned, but there was only bees, slimes, and phantoms, so it was a very easy monster party. And then I bought 2 mending books and put one on my sword and my helmet. And then I hit the 1 block for the rest of day 73. At the start of day 74, I got one of these chests, which means we are moving on to the next phase. This phase was a desolate land. And this phase was mainly giving me like stone bricks and stuff like that. And then a charge creeper spawned, but I was able to kill him with my bow. And then day 75, I hit the mob grinder, and then I enchanted my shovel with Fortune 3, Efficiency 4, and Unbreaking 3. Then I got Protection 4, Death Strider 3, Unbreaking 3 on my boots. Then I got Blast Protection 4, Unbreaking 3 on my chestplate. Then I hit the mob grinder some more, and then I enchanted my leggings with Blast Protection 4 and Unbreaking 3. And this is what my armor was looking like. And then the next thing I did was put Efficiency 5 on my diamond pickaxe. And then I traded with the villagers until I had enough mending books to put on my shovel, boots, leggings, and chestplate. Now everything I own has mending on it. Next thing I did was started filling in the villagers' platform. And then I finished off day 77 by chopping the 1 block. Then an invoker spawned, and I was able to kill him with my bow, and I got my first totem of Undying. And then I was hitting the 1 block some more, when a whole entire warden spawned. It was pretty easy, all I had to do was just stand back here and shoot him with a bow. And just like that, he's dead. Then a monster party spawned. This monster party was pretty easy because it was mainly just silverfish. Then another evoker spawned, and I was able to kill him and get another totem. And then I got this chest, which means we're moving on to the 10th and final phase. This phase was the end. And this phase was mostly giving me blocks from the end, obviously. And then there were some endermen, so I killed those. And then I started refreshing the trades on a sword until I got looting 3. Then I hit the mob grinder till I got level 30. And then I enchanted a sword with looting 3. Then I combined it with my other sword. And then some endermites started spawning. And now I was able to kill the enderman and get a bunch of ender pearls. Just from those 2 endermen, I got 5 ender pearls. And after killing a few more endermen, I was up to already a stack and 5 ender pearls. And then a monster party started, and this phase is pretty easy because it's mostly just endermites and endermen. And then on day 82, the end is near. And this spawned the end portal frame right below the 1 block, so that means it's time to fight the ender dragon. So I went in, and thank God the end is not 1 block. And now let's get to killing the Ender Dragon. I got 66 levels from killing the Ender Dragon, and then I collected the Dragon Egg. And then I went through the End Gateway to find an End City. I turned my shaders off and I saw an End City, because if you see, if I turn the shaders on, I can't see it. And this End City also had a ship as well, so I got to looting the ship. I got a Protection 4 Unbreaking 3 chestplate, and then I got the Elytra. After I was done looting the End City, I returned back to my base. And it was dark, so I slept, and at the start of day 84, I dyed all of my shulker boxes different colors. And then I filled up some more of the villagers' platform, and it's really fun flying around my island with this Elytra. And then I put Unbreaking 3 and Mending on my Elytra, and at the start of day 85, I finished up this platform, and then I added fences around it, and then I didn't really like what the villagers were staying in, so I destroyed it. And day 86 it was complete, and then I placed all of the beds down, and then I tried to do something with the villagers on day 87, but it didn't really work too well. So on day 88 I made a new platform, and this platform right here was going to be a cobblestone generator, which I think turned out pretty good. And day 89 I was refreshing a pickaxes trades until I got Silk Touch. And then I put that on a new diamond pickaxe, and I got efficiency 4 on it as well. And then I mined some stone, and I gathered all of that stone so I can build my villagers some new houses, so I got to work on doing that. And day 91, this is what the first one looked like, and I think it turned out pretty good. And then I mined some more stone, and then I was going to get to work on making this second villager house. And by day 92, this is the second villager house, and I think this one turned out even better than the first one. I think it looks really nice. And then I got to work on building a bigger house in between both of those. And this is what this one looked like right here. And if you go inside, new villager, we got some beds and some villager workplaces in here as well. Then I wanted to build one more final house, and this was the same as the other house on the other side. And I think all the houses looked really good. And then on day 95, I started gathering up materials for an Enderman farm. And once I got all the materials, I went into the end, and then I began building this Enderman farm. Once I was done building it, I wanted to reach level 100, so that's what I did for the next couple days. And once I got back to my base, I started harvesting some potatoes. And then I had a little too many animals in these pens, so I kind of cleared out a lot of them. And this is what it looked like when it was done, and then I combined all of their pens together. Then on day 99, I put my horse and then my skeleton horse on leads. Then I enchanted my mace with density 4 and unbreaking 3. And I don't know what I was doing here, but I wanted to try to figure out what's the highest amount of blocks it takes to kill an iron golem. And I came to the conclusion that 20 blocks is enough to kill the iron golem. And look at all of this iron I got from my iron farm. On day 100, I wanted to make the base look a little better, so I removed all that dirt and placed it with planks. And then I made one more platform, and this platform was all of my valuable resources into a little hill-shaped thing, and I think this looked really good. And then I checked the map one last time, and then here's a flyover of my base. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys did enjoy. Make sure you guys subscribe and leave a like, and let me know in the comments if you guys want to see 200 days. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys all in the next video.